Well, hello, Victoria 3 fans. Look, it's the 1.9.2 mod list. Yay! Okay, what's new and what's not new? Well, the newest things in it are what's missing, in that I took out a number of mods that are no longer needed because of changes made in the 1.9 code base. There are some others that, while what the mod was trying to do wasn't incorporated into Victoria 3 in 1.9, because the mod itself has not been updated in a long time, some of these have fallen off because they're just not working in 1.9. So there we go. And a few of them, I actually found that I've already got another mod that's doing kind of the same thing. So drop one in favor of the other. Usually if it's a big flavor mod, I'm going to keep the big flavor and drop the other one. So my mod list has actually gone down to 57 mods. Another reason there is, at the time of my testing, the Grand Revision mods were not yet updated for 1.9.2. And so I wasn't able to put them in my general testing. This got to be an issue because I was trying to hunt down a particular mod that was causing a particular problem. And I'll get into that more later. But I do know that Sasco has updated the Grand Revision up to 1.9.2. And I do plan to take a look at those mods in the near future. Right now, I want to make sure that what I have is running stable, and just to get to enjoy some of the features that are in 1.9.2, or the 1.9 train, because I know 1.9.3 is going to be coming up soon. How do I know this? Well, 1.9.1 and 1.9.2 are already out, and it's less than a week since 1.9 released. They're making a lot of hot fixes because there's a lot of tweaks, and I've seen some video about, oh yeah, you could do this, this, and this, and just give away things for free and get a whole bunch of stuff in return in the treaty. I think that's going to get nerfed. So I'm hesitant to add a bunch of new mods, but I do have a list ready to go. Now, the one mod that I added, which is really cool, it took out a few others. It's one that will combine different cultural groups, except for the ones in Europe. So I'll show what that looks like in a bit here. But right now, I want to talk about my little experience, as you will, in doing some troubleshooting, and why it takes a while to get a mod list together, especially when you start off with almost 80 mods like I did. And now I'm down to 57, so it shows I've been working. All right, but let me get into this. This is Victoria 3, and yeah, I've got some stuff off the edges because I'm not showing the actual game because I need to show some other things to go with it. All right, so I launched all my mods first in observer mode, just to see if any of them caused a crash. They didn't. Or, well, for the most part, they didn't. I was like, okay, this is good. I've got a stable set. Now to actually play the game, and as I started to play the game, I was getting some crashes, and I was getting also some very odd effects. In that, I always like to play France or Prussia to start things off. In this case, I picked France because there's a lot of economic changes, and I can play a stronger economic game as France at the start, so I'll be able to be aware of what these changes are. All right, so I'm playing France, and I'm noticing that my tax revenue is dropping dramatically, and that my expenses are going higher. And I'm going, what is going on? And then I begin to notice that I'm having problems just cyclically with my administration number, to the point where I see something like this. Here we see minus 1.26K. Let's zoom in on that. And since I zoomed in, I'll just go ahead and stretch it out. Oh, Microsoft AI, come on. Come on. If I'm zooming in, this is not about Microsoft AI. All right, so I got the minus 1.26K administration, which, because that's so low, it leads to minus 31.5K in revenue. And this is 1836. This is going to cripple the economy as it tries to grow. And then I look also here at this 20.7. This thing was fully employed just at the very beginning of the game on January 1st, 1836, and this is March 1836, it suddenly dropped. And I look at the vacancies like, well, there's a big problem there. That's all the clerks just out. All the bureaucrats gone. All right. What's causing this? Well, obviously, it's a mod because I tried this in vanilla. Nothing happens. I watched this during the first 2 years of the game, and the bar stays constant at 45K. And this is Ile-de-France. I got 30 of them there, so if it has a drop, I'm going to notice it right away. Well, I try and I'm bringing some in, some out, and I'm trying to go with ones that I think are going to impact admin buildings, but none of the ones that impacted admin buildings were causing the issue, and I'm really banging my head going, well, then that means it's one of these other smaller mods I have that's only doing one thing. What could it be? And I had to do a Boolean sort. Just take out my prejudices about, well, this mod couldn't possibly do it, and just say, look, let's try it with the first 20. Okay, they worked fine. I thought they would. Put in another 10. They work fine. Put in another 10. They work fine. Put in the last group, and like, aha, now I've got a problem. Okay, the first half, second half. And then out of that, take half of those, and then half of those. And then I got it down to where I thought was, okay, this is the one. And I ran with it, and like, oh no, everything worked fine. So what was the other one? I run it with that, it crashes. Then I say, okay, now let's get it to where I run it with just that one mod and nothing else. And that's where that screenshot came from. I knew I had the mod. Okay, so what do you do when that happens? Do you sit there and cry? No, you do not. Go and contact the mod owner. Politely. Let's be nice, because remember, the modder doesn't have to do it. But the modder wants to be able to have a good quality mod that other people will enjoy. So I went in, and yes, I'm saying what I did because this is my experience, so that's what I did. But I want you to do it too. I said, hey, this is an interesting one. Here's all the things I did, and then I get this cycle where we have the admin peak, and then it drops, and the tax revenue goes off, and I'm going bankrupt by early on, and then by 1848, it's unplayable. And then he says, hey, this should be fixed now. I know what you're talking about. What was going on was essentially with this migration fix, it was doing something that was impacting not the admin building, but the populations in an area. And people with jobs were suddenly departing for parts unknown. So this was good. The modder was being a legend about it. Like, yeah, he says this should be fixed now. And explains why it should be fixed. I love being able to do that. Now, I contacted a few other modders thinking, hey, I think I have a problem. It might be your mod. And they checked and like, well, no, it isn't. I'm like, okay, well, thanks anyway. You're right. I think it's somewhere else. So being able to be in communication with the modders is very good. I get comments on mine as well. I've got 4 mods that I like using. They work for me, and they're working for other people. That's great. And that's what we modders want to be able to do, because we're not really getting money for it. Sure, we got some people with like, hey, buy me a cup of coffee, but, this is not how we're making a living. This is a community where we share with you, and you enjoying it is good enough for us to keep doing what we do. I was banging my head against the wall with Victoria 3 and was ready to throw it out and say, fine, I'll never play this stupid game again because this mod's crashing me, and I don't want to. I got to go do a Boolean search, a binary search to go find it. It's hard. I want to play an easy game. But no, I feel a sense of duty to the people out there who play Victoria 3, and I want to get the mods set up for you. And so, as a result, I did my work. And I contacted the good modders, and the modders are doing their work, and that's how it should be. Never, ever, ever complain to a modder. Bring up instances and say, try this to repeat the error, but do not ever complain to the modder, because the modders are doing some wonderful things, and I thank them for it. Okay, I thank myself too, because, well, I am a modder, as you know, but more than I play with, I only did 4, and they're small. The ones that are really big, thank you very much for those. One of them, by the way, that's really big is Morgenrot. which is ready now for 192. It's split out into 3 different areas. Now we have science, art, and sports. Each one of these bringing up their own little display here. So I got my overview, my math and tech, my natural history, my humanities. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah. We got that going on. Thank you, Morgan wrote authors. And it's fantastic. Industry realism and the politics and economics changes are both also updated for 192. I'm very happy with that. I can't wait to start seeing my market swing. Oh, it's going to be fun. Yeah. Hail Columbia. Let's zoom out there. It is ready to go. I'm playing with that. It is still very necessary, I think, because if you don't, the couple of vanilla or vanilla-ish runs that I've done in 1.9 have gotten me a very early Civil War, and if that happens, the Confederacy is going to be around for a very long time. So I know that the Australia-New Zealand flavor mod is still being worked on right now. So best of luck with that, gents. And yeah, everything else I've got going. So let me talk about that new mod I found here. Okay, let's take a look at cultures globally. All right, here we go. Cultures overview. All right, so I've got, yeah, a patchwork. And honestly, I know that these cultures make a huge difference today. And to the people who have always had them, it makes a difference. But in game terms, in game mechanics terms, we don't see a situation where, for example, the Telugu are going to be more or less likely to cooperate with the East India Company than the Rajput or the Punjabi or the Sinhala. I mean, it's just, well, if they're actually not in the East India Company. But yeah, my point being, we're not really seeing that impact the game itself. It's a division that, yes, while historically accurate, does not have impact in the game. And if it doesn't have impact in the game, for the game to play, then we have to ask, does it do anything that impacts performance? Yes, it does. Tracking all these groups requires CPU time, but it doesn't produce any flavor in the game itself, not now. So if we take this mod here, I go to my journal and I go to integrate culture. That's the button to click. I got the mod and I was wondering, well, where's my culture? Where'd it go? And like, oh, I got to punch the button. Clicko. And let's go back out of that mode and now come back out of there and come back into that mode. Cultures overview. You saw the yeah, now, whoops. I'll have to unpause it there, but you can see that the colors changed. This is going to say North Indian, South Indian. We got Chinese. We got Arabic, and I know there's a complaint. They're saying, no, the Somali are not really Arabic. You should call them Kushite. Look, guys, it's really not going to make a difference. I know your culture is important. I really do. But in terms of the game, it's not going to have an impact. Now, this one does have impact in Europe. It was very important in Europe during this time. So, yeah, we're going to keep those. And they're going to have their uprisings and they're going to have their little nationalist movements. And if this game went into, let's say, all the way up to 1973, let's say, or 1976, then culture in Africa and South America and Asia becomes really important during that decolonization period. But it stops in 1936. We don't really get that. If you have uprisings, it doesn't matter if it's a Central African group or a West African group or whatever. The group's a group. So let me go ahead and unpause it here and go for like a day or two or 3 or a week. Let's go a week. Yeah, that's usually a good one there. And yeah, see, now all these things are popping in. Let's hit pause. I'm going to clear that one out. I'm going to support the House of Orleans, my expedition. Morgan wrote, let's find out about the wonders of nature. Let's do that. We've got all these things coming in. And now we should see that culture overview. There we go. West African, Central African, North Indian, South Indian. We've got political borders in there, and that's fine. But in terms of indigenous South American, fine. That's all we need. Plantanean, great. Afro-Brazilian, Brazilian. And so the mod, by the way, the mod that I had that made it where slave cultures would become Afro, whatever region they're in, then that's no longer needed, because instead of having dozens of different potential slave cultures there, we now have West African, Central African, East African, South African, Ethiopian. That's it. We're done. We're done. It's got 5. That's going to reduce overall CPU grinding in the game here. And yeah, I know, Central Asian, that goes all the way down to Pakistan. And like, what? How can you call them Central Asian without a long history? Like, for purposes of the game, what are they doing? They're just being there to resist the British and the Russians. It really doesn't matter what language they're speaking. They're going to be opposed to the Russians and the British, or favoring one side over the other in the great game. That's all that's going to happen. There's nothing that says a Pashtun is going to do it this way and a Hazari is going to do it another way. Nah, nothing. They're all Central Asian. Just leave it like that. So, that's the way it is there. But in terms of performance, it should give the game a much better performance boost, and I like that. Also, in terms of map, I love having Atlantis. This is the Lepsius map that comes with Morgenrot, and that's what I like to play with there. I'm very happy that Morgenrot and PEC and IR all came through. Those are the ones I really like. Hail Columbia, one that I really like. I'm glad to see it there. And that most of the other mods that I use, they are updated for 1.9. There's one or two that aren't, but they still work somehow. A couple that I want to see come back, please, would be the one that had the additional symbols for the army, because this changed from 1.8, and now that one that had the whole bunch of extra colors and extra symbols, it doesn't do it anymore. I'm so sad. They were pretty. There was some flavor for the game. I liked it. It was nice, but it's gone. Oh well. There's that one. There's a couple others that are just like, oh come on, please update it. One that I'm glad was updated is the one that gives a country a claim on any spot that they start to colonize, so that way it'll potentially block out the others if you're fast enough. So what I'm going to do here is I've made some claims in Africa, and I'm going to get it up to February 1st. And as soon as that day hits, I'm going to mash pause, and I'm going to make my claims. 29, 30, don't bother. Ah, there we go. Okay. Whew, got in. Yes, I have these other things going off, but right now I need to establish some colonies. Okay, I'm going to go first for Niger Delta. Give me one that'll connect to Cameroon. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, I love the building a port. Yes. It got me into North Cameroon. Ah, that's some sweetness right there. Let's grab that one. I love when it happens, because if they happen off on the edge, and like, oh no, I don't connect to North Cameroon. And then South Cameroon, got it. So, ooh, yeah, we got this beautiful little spot there. All we need is the one port here. The rest are connected. And now I go to claim my colonial states. If you notice, there's 4 for South Cameroon, 3 for North Cameroon, and 2 for Niger Delta. So that means that's how often I'm going to have to click to get those to work. But click, 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 click. Now, if we take a look here on this state, being colonized by France, claims France. Yes, we got a claim there. So we owns it. Now over here, I believe in Iwe, Denmark has claimed that because they have their colony here. They had it at the beginning of the game, so they nabbed it. I can't move in on it. I also have the mod that I made that gives France a claim basically to all of West Africa except for Gambia. Yeah, here we go. Because yeah, Gambia is the state there. British have a claim on that. We'll work with that there. And I believe, yeah, and then Oman has a claim on Kenya that we're going to have to work that out in violence and spirited discussion later on. But as we move into Africa, we're going to be able to claim the spot that we want and not have to worry about 17 different other people also colonizing it and getting loads of border gore. I did a few test runs without it because it was being updated, and wow, looking at the colonization of New Guinea was just awful. East and West were both going to 5 or 6 different groups at the same time. It was horrific. So thank you, that mod. It's there. But yeah, basically everything I've said about the other mods still holds true for this one here. I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to get into a game. I'm going to play with the treaty system. I'm going to try some things out and see where that takes me. But for now, I hope you enjoy the mods, the mod list. I have that. The link will be in the description below to my webpage that has the mods. And if you come to my Discord server, I have it in JSON file so you can download it and use it in your launcher. The link to subscribe to Discord does work. It's been working. It continues to work. It's always been working. If it's not working for you, try it again. Something you're doing is wrong because it's working for everybody else. But yeah, hope that works there. So yeah, JSON in my Discord. Link to this, to the list of 57 in the description below. And thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Be nice to other people. And as always, in parting, I wish you love, peace, and soul.